In this video, we're going to tackle the Find a Town homework that I set you. In other words, we're going to have a quick look at Java file handling. On the screen at the moment, you can see the online curriculum where we can view the presentation and download the compressed files. I might leave a link at the bottom of this video just to make it a bit easier for you to get to these files as well. So today's task was to find the name of a town inside a very large text file. We're just going to have a quick look at the presentation to remind ourselves of exactly what we had to do. So using the text file letters.txt, you're to find a Scottish town or city that has 9 letters. All the letters were uppercase, so part of your task was to find a list of Scottish towns or cities which have got 9 letters in them. In this video we are just going to go through how to carry out this task using the test scenario, which is shown on the next slide. And it says there, when you find the town or city, you're to multiply the row number by the column number of the first letter of the town to create the answer to the problem. So with all these large tasks, it's always good to have a small test set so we can develop our program. And I've provided one for this, and it's called letters_test.txt. And here I'm going to find the city Dundee. Well, this is the text file. This is the contents of the text file here. And so we can see that Dundee is located, if we count from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it's the 5th row and it's the 4th column, and we can see Dundee, the D of Dundee starts there. And so the result for this would be 20, because 5 times 4 is 20. Okay, so I've got NetBeans open. I've got NetBeans 16 installed on this computer at the moment because I think that's the latest version. And so I'm going to find a suitable project to create my answer to this task. Now you might have a project called homework on your computer at home. I'm not going to use that just now. I've got a package called file handling, and I'm going to do it in there. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open the file, and I'm going to do that with a thing called a buffered reader. Now, this might seem a little bit complicated at first, but really, this is how I always open files for the purposes of reading them. Okay, so I've got a buffered reader, and I call it BR, a new buffered reader, because I'm creating an object of type buffered reader. And inside that, there's a thing called a file reader. And then here, I just need to type the name of the file. There's lots of red stuff going on here because I need to add some imports, and I'm just going to let the IDE do that. Now, if I open a file, the next thing I need to do at the bottom is close it. So I've done that. And once again, add a throws clause, so I'm going to allow that. And I'm pretty much done. And then here, add annotation there, and that's done. Sometimes it will come up and say, do you want to do try catch? Well, because we don't cover try catch, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to, instead of that, I'm going to have this throws IO exception up here. So, next thing I need to do, I'm actually going to go up here and make a string variable called line. And I'm going to loop or iterate through the contents of the file. So I'm going to type WH, hopefully, WH tab, and here I'm going to use a standard kind of trick to get the contents. I'm going to do line is equal to BR dot read line. So here inside those inner brackets I'm going to do that, and I'm going to say while that is not null. Okay, so in other words, while we can read a line of text. And on this one I'm actually going to test this and just print it off. Now I'll say I'm going to test it with the test program, but I really need to comment that out later on. Okay, so I'm going to test that just now, and yet that works. Okay, so I can see I've got my file here. So I've done the easy stuff, if you like. What I need to do now is I need to identify how to actually find this information, so how to find Dundee. So up here I'm going to have a couple more variables. I'm going to have a string called target, and I'm going to call that Dundee. Okay, and then I'm going to have two integers. Well, in fact, I'm going to have three integers. Answer, row, I'm going to make row equal to 0, and column, and I'm going to make column equal to 0 as well. Okay, so I've got those available. So what I'm going to do now is I need to work out the algorithm, and basically what I need to do for each of these lines, I need to say to myself, how can I find out if Dundee's in there? And I'm not going to use .contains or anything like that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to interrogate the number of characters that are in Dundee, which is 6. So I'm starting at position 0, I'm going to look at that, KCTATK, and I'm going to say, is that equal to Dundee? And if it is, we finish and we capture the row and column number. If it's not, we go across here like so, and we continue doing that until we get to the end. So I'm going to try and do that. I'm going to do that with an inner loop. So I'm going through the columns because this thing here represents the rows. So I'm going to go from column 0 to column, well, the last column is the line and the length of the line. Okay, so now, and what I need to do here is I need to capture a temporary string. So in actual fact, I'm going to make a string called temp here, and I'm going to say that temp is equal to line dot substring, and I'm going to start a column, and I'm going to finish at column plus target dot length. Okay, so now I've got that thing there, and I can actually print that out. And I've started to print that out, and that kind of works. That looks like it's going to do exactly the right thing. But then it has a problem, out of bounds exception. And the reason it's an out of bounds exception is because I've gone right to the end here. So this bit is wrong, line 26, because I can't go right to the end and then say I want the next 6 characters. So what I need to do is I need to say it's less than this minus target dot length, and hopefully that will work now. Yeah, and you can see that that's worked there. Okay, and hopefully we should be able to see Dundee, so you can see Dundee down there as well. Okay, so now what I need to do is I'm just getting rid of that for a second, comment that out, and I need to identify whether temp is equal to the target. But of course you can't do it like that. You can't say it's temp, which is a string, equal to the target. We have to use dot equals because we are comparing two objects. Okay, and it's auto-populated with the answer there, which is not what I want. Target. If temp equals target, well, in that case, basically, we want to finish off there. We want to identify the row that we're at, and we want to identify the column that we're at. So, in actual fact, here, we haven't really worked out the row yet, but I'm going to say, I'm just going to say break there. Okay, down here, I'm going to increment the row, because the row is the line as we're going through, so I'm going to increment the row. I've done all that stuff, and what this will do, this will capture the column that we have achieved there. Okay, so now I need to calculate the answer. Now I've left an intentional mistake in here at the moment, but I am going to discuss it with you. So the answer is equal to, now it's row plus 1, and that's because the problem statement at the start said that we are going to treat the 0th row as 1 and the 0th column as 1. Okay, and now here I'm going to print out the answer. I'm going to do that, and it's actually said 24, and 24 is wrong, and the reason 24 is wrong, if I can do this, and I'm going to print out row plus 1 as well, and that's because it thinks that the row is row 6. Okay, so it's broken out, and the reason we've got a problem here is because we have broken out of this internal loop, but then the while loop will run again, and it will increment row again right till the end. So I'm just going to get rid of this because that was for testing. And what we actually need to do is we need to break out of the outer loop. Okay, and the way we do that is by putting a label here, and I'm going to just use the label outer. Okay, and then here, just above this, I'm going to type outer and then a colon. Okay, I'm going to run that now, and that has run successfully with the answer being 20, and that is because it's row 5 and column 4. Okay, if you do that, then hopefully you can simply change this to whatever the name of the 9-letter city is, and it should work. Hope that was helpful, and hopefully you'll get your homework done.